Okay, just a little mini course here that I'm going to continue just on strumming and what you can do to make your guitar playing a little more interesting, a little better. And we're going to go after the low-hanging fruit first, things that don't require a lot of dexterity, or any dexterity in some cases, anything more than what you're playing. But it starts with the fact that whenever you pick the guitar up, as I keep telling you, you're the arranger. You're the one who arranges how that song sounds, and you can play it very unenergetically and uninteresting and undramatically, and it really is not much of a leap to get from undramatic and uninteresting to a much more interesting arrangement that you can do. So what are the first three things that I'll talk about? The first three things are dynamics, and that's how loud and how soft I play. Interestingly enough, the piano means soft in Italian, and that was the first instrument that was actually a percussive blow rather than just a plucking action that didn't allow to play loud and soft. So the music world was just elated when the piano came along. You could play it loud and soft. In guitar, you can play loud and soft. So that's the first thing that you want to do. That adds a little dynamism, sound, loud or soft, and a little more interest and drama to what you're playing. So if I were to play a song, I'm just going to do everything with straight down strums in this, and then we'll build into more things. But the first three things are dynamics, how loud, how soft you play, where you're playing on what I call the east-west grid. The pick has a different sound here than it does here. Quite a different sound. You can use that to your advantage to emphasize and accentuate. All this is how you accentuate, how you emphasize with what you're playing, and don't just make it a monotone sound, monotone being the basis of monotonous. So you don't want to just have everything like this. You want to vary that with how loud and how soft you play it. And then the east-west side determines, do I want that sound that maybe I can accent on? Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Two, so just down. Take a sad song, just down, and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can see I'm playing a star to make it better. See that wakes anyone you put asleep up when you do that. So you can just use that as a hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a see. Now the other thing is that's the east-west part of your guitar. Then there's the north-south part of your guitar. If I play up here in this zone, I call them little zones. The first 2 or 3 strings down here, the high notes, are one zone in your guitar. They're A zone, and then you have this middle zone where I don't have this high string in here. I have that middle zone, and then I have the zone up, actually down here, which means the strings that are closest to you. And they all have different sounds. If I go, hey Jude, don't make it bad, that's the upper zone. That's right here, strings 1, 2, and 3. If I play that in the middle zone, it's much less active on your ear. It's much more mellow. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. And if I play in this low zone here, it becomes, hey Jude, don't make it bad. So they have 3 different sounds. So now in your mix, you have how loud and how soft you can play. You have where you can play and accent and get different sounds with your pick from where you're playing, so that every pick strike doesn't have this, doesn't have the very same sound, without doing anything up here. And this is the low-hanging fruit. And you can play the different zones would up here. Many times you don't want this high F sharp in because it clashes. It's a higher note than what the singer is singing, and it detracts. So you would just purposely keep that out, but I'll get to that in a later lesson. So if I were doing a song like I have climbed highest mountain, I'm on the high part of the north-south zone here. I have run through the fields, and then I'm just go to the D7th here. Only, and then before I leave that D7th, because I've just had a change, I'll accent that a little. Only to be with you. Now to come up here and get this bass note. Only to be with you, and then come to the center zone. I have run. Now the song's starting to pick up energy, so I'm playing louder now. Only to be with you. Now I'm getting that bass in. Only to be with you. And I still haven't found what I'm looking for. That's just an arrangement. That's an arrangement. I'm just kind of making it up on the fly as I go. But that's what you do to make the song sound interesting, rather than just go, I have climbed. You know, you have to introduce drama. You have to introduce different sounds that add interest and accentuate. Go with what the words are that you're singing, and where the natural energy points are in those songs. So that's the first little mini lesson. Dynamics, loud and soft. Loud and soft, that adds interest tastefully, and then the zones that you want to play with your see, just something like that you can get, a little punch into what you're playing. And then the zones that where you're playing, these darker tones, the lesser tones. So she got up from where she was, lying still. Said, I gotta do something about where we're going. So I'm playing that all up here because I just want, and I'm muting it. We'll get to that later, but you can see that a song like that has a different feel. It sounds silly with these high notes in, to me, when I arrange it. It sounds silly, and apparently it does to Bono too. So anyway, that's first three things: dynamics, east-west, north-south, where you're actually picking low-hanging fruit. You don't have to do anything different. It's just where you're accenting and where you're playing with this pick. Here, here, here. Yeah. Here, 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 here. Is that you can just adjust pretty easily, and it's usually just for like some emphasis point that you want to inject. Play around with it, take the songs that you know, and try to make them sound better. Okay, see you next time.